is just wrong.
Could have been market manipulation. There's no way someone paid over $2,000 for this comic book unless they just made a horrendous mistake.
You should not be missing. Go and get your copies now.
The most trending comic books in the world, and at the list at number 10. No surprise that this new title took off. The highest selling Hasbro comic book of all time. But it's not even issue number 1. It's a promo comic book. How did they get this? And what are we talking about?
Number 10 on the list, G.I. Joe number 1, the Skybound Insiders promo variant. Now, this book was given away at a special screening at Universal City Walk, Hollywood. So this book was already tough to find. We have reports that there were fewer than 200 copies made, and you had to get a special invite and be part of the Skybound Insiders to even attend. Now, we've seen 4 or 5 sales on eBay so far. I saw those ranging between $500 and $850. There's a buy it now that's on eBay for $1,200, and probably 5 or 6 more buy it nows in the $700 to $800 range. We know the demand is high because this book is absolutely insane, and there were so many people that pre-ordered this G.I. Joe book at the shop.
Big congratulations to writer Joshua Williamson for all the success of this comic book, which should have been no surprise to anybody because of his creative talent. G.I. Joe 1 dropped this past week. There was a ton of really great variants. There are over 30 for you to choose from, but the ones that I specifically ordered, Liber Mejo, they also made a foil variant of that, absolutely stunning. Almost as gorgeous as the Jenny Frison variant, which they also made 2 versions of it. The foils of these look and feel different. They present almost like a metal, if you've ever seen a metal cover, but they are indeed foil, and they are solid as it pertains to print production.
And if you're looking for something really good to chase, there's a 1 in 100 John Boy Myers variant that is absolutely stunning. And I have to give a shout out to Tony Fleece, the cover artist of this Skybound Insiders variant. If you're not reading Feral and you're not reading Local Man, you probably should, because those are 2 great books that he's working on.
I checked in with Tony Fleece, the artist of this cover, and he said that he's currently on a promotional tour, specifically focusing in on his comic book Feral, which is like Walking Dead meets Cats. Put that on order. And he hasn't even seen this book in person yet. He hasn't gone home to check the comp copies or anything. He's seeing the prices and he's getting excited about the reception G.I. Joe has had in this community.
With an almost immediate sellout, this G.I. Joe issue number 1 is going to second printing, and Transformers number 1 is about to have a 10th printing. We saw Void Rivals have a 10th printing as well. Robert Kirkman's Energon Universe being put on by Skybound is absolutely one of those things you should not be missing. Go and get your copies now.
We make this video every single week. We've been doing it for over 6 years. Hit the subscribe button while we talk about number 9 on the list, Mark Spears Monsters, issue number 2. It's been a while since we had a issue number 2 book that wasn't because of spec or superheroes or anything like that jump up on the trending list because of how many people missed out on just ordering it straight up and how hot the book is.
A $12 average sale for a book that is brand new this week, and we know that there is demand for this book. Last week, we weren't 100% certain if the error variant of number 1 was really something that people were actually going after, but the fact that number 2 is on the list this week shows that there is more demand for horror out there than I think the industry is giving people credit for.
This was an unexpectedly popular comic book, and people are trying to play catch up. I also think the plan of homages that they've been doing has only helped this cause. You got a Spawn homage this time around. You also got an EC Comics homage and a Dark Shadows homage.
Support what we do. You know we'll send you comics every single month.
4 to 5 comics to be precise, Russ, as well as an exclusive print, and 1 per box is a Moon Knight Fistaconchu John Jang issue number 1 NYCC exclusive. ComicTom.com, link in the description. Number 8 on the list is Ultimate X-Men number 9. Ooh, the spec kind of changed a little bit, but people still buying this book, which is $5 average sales.
It's a 124% increase in copies sold this week compared to last week when it came out, because we have the introduction of Ultimate Akihiro, aka Ultimate Daken, in the Ultimate Universe. Now, there has been speculation around Ultimate Wolverine and Ultimate X-Men number 6, which was supposedly his first appearance on the Silvestri X.
Cameo.
That's right, it's a cameo, and the fact that they're already talking about Ultimate Wolverine showing up in Ultimate Universe 1 year in number 1 This is very well a different character, being first appearance of Ultimate Akihiro.
Or not. Like, two forms of thinking here. People are speculating on this because maybe Daken is the Ultimate Wolverine or is just the Ultimate Daken. What I will say is that the Marvel Ultimate Comics runs, there are 5 of them, the 5th one being Ultimate Wolverine coming out soon, have all been pretty restrained, easy to get into, and pretty standalone, so anyone can jump in. And we got Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, The Ultimates, and Ultimate Black Panther, of course.
With Ultimate Wolverine coming out soon, I think we are going to see another hit on our hands. And from a local comic shop perspective, the thing that I'm noticing about this is with a lot of Marvel titles, people will buy the first 3 or 4 issues and then drop off. Almost every single one of the people that started Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, and Ultimate X-Men are still on the multiple issues later. It's a sign of a quality comic book.
Could have been market manipulation. There's no way someone paid over $2,000 for this comic book unless they just made a horrendous mistake.
Number 7 on the list, Incredible Hulk number 449. We're talking about the first appearance of the Thunderbolts. $50 average sales and a CGC 9.8 sale for $267 just this last month. And that's why when we have the reported Heritage sale from 2022 that was over $2,000, it's just wrong.
That's right. This right here is not a mistake as in, oh, is it a newsstand? You know, is it the comic boom effect? Is it an outlier? Oh, is it an outlier? Because this book was at best $1,100 for a very short window. And then definitely trended between $500 and $800 ever since. And as you just reported, is a sub $300 book right now. So why someone would pay over $2,000 at the worst time and set the overall highest price ever paid is either A, they accidentally clicked a damn button and went through the transaction, which we don't know if it was actually completed, or, which I'm not like making an accusation here. You know, we don't know the seller. We don't know the buyers of this. We just know that Heritage sold it. They wanted the floor to be raised because some people who had more of them wanted the books to go for more money.
This book has been on Spec Radar since February of 2019 when we had a key collector exclusive letting us know that there was a Thunderbolts series in development. Go download Key Collector, the best comic book app in existence. It will up your game. Use code TOM101 for 2 free weeks of the best app in existence. Now, this rumor evolved in 2022 at San Diego Comic-Con. We found out that it was a Thunderbolts movie that was in development, and it's not even going to be until next year that it actually comes out. But this book, back on Spec Radar.
An increase of 110% after the last trailer dropped. I'm very excited about this movie. It looks action-packed. Florence Pugh is leading it, which is really all I need to go to the theater that weekend when it comes out. But we also have this going up against a couple of juggernauts this year, in 2025, that is. Because you do have Captain America, right? That's a big, big movie. They put a ton of money into it, and it's Captain America. You also have Fantastic Four coming out next year. And then you also have the Thunderbolts. So they're up against a lot, but fortunately, it doesn't look like it's getting as many reshoots as Captain America.
This is so shocking. I mean, I don't know if this is the type of thing that you would expect from a director of a major movie.
Oh, you're talking about number 6 on the list with Amazing Spider-Man 15, first appearance of Kraven, which, by the way, you can get a 2.0 for like $400. It's a over $6,000 9.0. This is a major villain from the Rogues Gallery of Spider-Man, double-digit Spidey, great for any PC, and great to grab a low-grade copy to begin to build up and try to upgrade your books. I've owned this book many times. I love this book, and so do collectors. The movie doesn't look terrible. Aaron Taylor Johnson definitely got really fit for this role. He's running on all fours. It's the first Sonyverse R-rated movie. A lot of the complaints that people had about prior Sony movies were that they didn't go the distance. There's not enough blood. There's not enough violence. They needed to focus on being a bit more unique. And that's what you're getting with Kraven.
When you have director J.C. Chandor coming out and saying, please come and see my movie, we know that Madam Web was bad. We know that Morbius was not good. There were definitely problems with these other movies.
Dude, he was begging people to see his movie.
But I really think this is one that might be worth giving a chance. Aaron Taylor Johnson's fantastic. I've loved him in a lot of the things that he's been in. It's an R-rated movie, which means he's going to have a little bit more leeway with what he can do violence-wise.
He bites someone's nose off in the trailer.
There's a whole bunch of good Spider-Man villains that are going to be in this movie. Yeah, it may be a strange tactic for this director, but I really think it's worth giving him a chance.
I appreciate his vulnerability. and his self-awareness. He knows he's up against it. He knows that Sony did not set him up for success with the prior movies that have come out since the production began on Craven's film. That comes out in a month, mind you. The director said, give it a chance, like 5 different times in this quote that we have here. He also said that he has done his best to isolate the film from anything else to give it an opportunity to be a banger. I think we got to give him that opportunity.
Number 5 on the list, New Gods #1 from 1971. We are reporting a $180 average sales and $1,560 for a CGC 9.8. This is the first appearance of the full New Gods team, and the fact that Darkseid's been kicking around since Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen #134, and they introduced Fourth World, the whole concept of Jack Kirby's Fourth World, in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen #133. It wasn't until this comic issue that all really came to fruition.
We wouldn't even learn about Darkseid really and his powers and his origins until these issues. So it's super important, and I think it's underrated. An increase of copies sold of 150%, because we do have a new comic book coming out by Ram V, who's been killing it on Detective Comics. You got to read his Venom run, and you need to treat yourself with what he's been doing over on Swamp Thing. And he's going to be taking on this, which is a very big task.
Ram V's New Gods is part of the new All-In initiative, which ties in heavily to the whole Absolute universe. We have been talking about a lot of these Absolute books on this trending list over the past month or so, and if you're not in on them, you should be picking that up and getting ready for the New Gods.
Also worth mentioning that Detective Comics run that I just mentioned just changed writers. And now is being written by Tom Taylor of Nightwing fame. Just saying, you need to pick up your Detective Comics. While we're at number 4 with Tomb Raider Witchblade issue #1 from 1997. A year prior, the video game Tomb Raider debuted, the character, and then a year later, debuted in this comic for the first time. $15 average sales, $180 for a recent CGC 9.8. We knew back a year ago that Netflix was going to be doing an animated show, which debuted this past October to major success. What was interesting is that just a month after that announcement was made last year, Amazon announced that they were planning a huge universe. They were going to roll out a new video game for Tomb Raider, a show, a live-action movie, and we didn't hear anything since then, largely because they were focused on the Lord of the Rings stuff that was taken off, and that didn't go as well as I think they were hoping, and this was a very ambitious plan. It was going to cost a lot of money. Well, we're now finally hearing updates and casting rumors about the new Amazon Tomb Raider show.
A 500% increase in copies sold this week because news leaked that Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner was nearly cast as Lara Croft in Amazon's series, but nothing has been confirmed as of this time.
Number 3 on the list is Uncanny XMen 274, Jim Lee, Chris Claremont from 1991. $3 average sales and $95 for a recent CGC 9.8. This is the first appearance of Rogue in her Savage Land design. Hot damn.
A 500% increase in copies sold this week because there is absolutely a renewed interest for the Savage Land Rogue. And it's not just because of the Adigrana variant or because the fact that Marvel just released a new facsimile of this book.
It definitely helps, we'll say.
It absolutely helps, but this makes more sense why they would be doing a reprint, because we know we're going back to the Savage Land, and there's a new miniseries coming out in January that will focus on Rogue's time there with Magneto.
There's a Nick Bradshaw variant. There's a Russell Dodderman variant for this comic coming out in January. And this is a pivotal moment in the character's history. I mean, she has a passionate relationship with Magneto during this time. And we're going to get the full story.
Number 2 on the list, Predator #1, 1989 from Dark Horse Comics, $60 average sales and $312 for CGC 9.8, which is the year-low sale.
This is a great time to pick up this comic book, dude. I am actually getting to be pretty interested in grabbing some 9/8s myself. It's getting super affordable. There's 2 different movies in the works. One theatrical release. One is a sequel to Prey, which puts Predator in a random situation, and we get something super unique. And I think Marvel's probably experiencing something similar with that kind of success, because the Predator and Alien comics, although have been excellent, clearly what's taking off is when you put Predator and Aliens, which are both IPs they are controlling in the comics, up against and with other characters in the Marvel Universe. It just went up against Black Panther. Predator just went up against Wolverine over a year ago. You got Aliens versus Avengers. Now we're going to have Predator versus SpiderMan. And that seemingly is the secret sauce to making this popular in comic books.
A 155% increase in copies sold this week. And if you are buying a raw copy, check on the inside to see if it's a second print or not. The book looks exactly the same, other than those words on the inside fine print.
Hit the like, slap the subscribe, the #1 hottest book in the world. It's a sci-fi classic, and there's 5 9/8 in existence. We have, courtesy of Brian K. Vaughan doing, because he's going to be writing the brand new series, we have Forbidden Planet issue #1 from 1992, which is an adaptation of the classic film from the 50s.
I love it when I get to say this. This is a book that no one was specking on, and we are reporting $15 average sales and a $283 CGC 9.8. But get this, guys, 1,329% increase in copies sold. Now, it is a classic sci-fi movie. It is a classic Leslie Nielsen movie. It is one of those movies that really, it's kind of where a lot of the modern sci-fi comes from, having the robot, having a whole lot of other stuff.
Less campy. It made it more believable and gave it a chance of being like a quality film.
Very much so. So this book is the first time they had a comic book adaptation, and it was from Innovation Comics. You would know them because they released Quantum Leap. They released Interview with a Vampire, Vampire Lestat. They had a whole lot of other intellectual properties where they released these comic books. Print runs were low, and a lot of people not paying attention to it. But with Brian K. Vaughan coming in and doing a new version of this story, absolutely rocket to the moon with this book.
I don't even think it matters that most people haven't even seen the film from the 1950s or even know this IP, because you have Brian K. Vaughan, Why the Last Man, Saga, Paper Girls. Taking this on, he has a chance to do more than breathe life into this narrative and introduce it to people who have never heard of it.
With only 29 slabs on the census, this is definitely a book that is out there hiding in bins. Get to hunting.
And as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said.